in a very special place. It is cheap to feed, easy to shoot, and endlessly useful. Whether you are running drills at the range, walking fence lines, or packing light into the backcountry. But not all 22 wheelguns are built for the same job. Some are precision machines meant to punch tiny groups in paper. Others are tough training tools that mimic centerfire carry guns. And a few are simply there to deliver maximum fun for minimum money. This article walks through 12 of the best 22LR revolvers available today and focuses on the single standout trait that makes each model worth your attention. Instead of repeating the same checklist of specs, we look at what each revolver actually does best in the real world. Accuracy, weight, versatility, price, or pure nostalgia. By the end, you should have a clear sense of which one fits the way you actually shoot. 1. Smith & Wesson. Model 6. 17. The Rimfire Workhorse. If you asked a squad of serious rimfire shooters to name one, do everything, 22 revolver, the Model 6-17 would appear again and again. Its real magic is how stable and predictable it feels on target. A full-lug 6-inch barrel, heavy stainless K-frame, and 10-shot cylinder add up to a revolver that barely moves when you press the trigger. That weight lets you track the sights through the entire shot. So calling hits and misses becomes second nature. The single-action pull is crisp enough for precision work, while the double-action stroke is smooth enough for fast strings once you learn the rhythm. At the bench, it behaves like a small-bore target pistol. On steel, it feels like cheating when you can clean racks without touching your ammo budget. It is not cheap, but if you want one 22LR revolver that can anchor a collection, the 617 is that gun. 2. Ruger Single 6, Single 10. One revolver, two personalities. The Single 6 family is all about versatility, wrapped in classic single-action lines. At first glance, it looks like a scaled-down cowboy gun, but the party trick sits in the cylinder. Many versions ship with both 22LR and 22 Magnum cylinders, and swapping between them takes only a few moments. That means one revolver can handle quiet backyard plinking with bulk 22, then step up to harder-hitting Magnum loads for small game or pests. The Single 10 variant adds a 10-round cylinder and modern adjustable sights, turning the same platform into a higher-capacity range companion. What owners consistently praise is how these guns feel solid steel, excellent machining, and a clean single-action trigger that rewards careful sight pictures. You do give up speed. The loading gate and ejector rod are old school, but in return, you get a revolver that feels timeless and useful in almost any rimfire role. 3. Colt King. Cobra. Target 22. Match. Feel in a rimfire snake. Is any 22 revolver really worth centerfire money? Colt's King Cobra Target 22 makes a strong case. The signature feature here is feel the way the trigger breaks, the way the sights hover on target, and the way recoil effectively disappears. With a 10-round cylinder, ventilated rib barrel, and excellent adjustable sights, it behaves much more like a dedicated match gun than a casual plinker. Shooters often comment that the double action pull is unusually smooth for a rimfire, where heavy mainsprings are the norm. That lets you run realistic defensive-style drills in 22 without fighting the trigger. In single action, it turns into a small-bore laser for precise groups at distance. The polished fit and finish, crisp checkering, and Colt branding push it into heirloom territory. If you want a rimfire revolver that feels like a premium centerfire and intend to keep it for decades, this is where you look. 4. Ruger SP-101 22. Training tool, built like a tank. The SP-101 in 22LR stands out because it feels like a real gun first and a rimfire second. Pick it up, and you immediately notice the mass stainless construction, medium-length barrel, and an 8-shot cylinder give it the heft of a small .357. That is exactly the point. Many shooters use the 22 SP-101 as a low-cost stand-in for their centerfire defensive revolver. The weight and grip shape soak up what little recoil 22 generates, so new shooters can focus on sight alignment and trigger control instead of blast and kick. Ruger's reputation for durability shows here. This is a revolver you can feed bricks of ammo without babying. The double action pull is on the heavy side, but it is smooth and consistent, which is perfect for building discipline. As a training platform, trail gun, or general do-anything rimfire, the SP-101 earns its place. 5. Smith & Wesson. Model 317, almost weightless, never useless. Empty your hand, drop in a Model 317, and your hand still feels almost empty. That near-weightless sensation is the whole reason this revolver exists. Built on an aluminum airlight J-frame with an aluminum cylinder, the 317 tips the scales at roughly 3/4 of a pound while still offering 8 rounds of 22LR. For hikers, anglers, and backpackers, that matters. You can tuck it into a pocket, kit bag, or pack lid and forget it is there, until you need it for pests, snakes, or opportunistic small game. A fiber optic front sight and adjustable rear help you wring real accuracy out of the 3-inch barrel, and the full-size rubber grip makes it more controllable than its weight suggests. The trigger is typical rimfire J-frame, serviceable rather than glamorous, but the payoff is a revolver you will actually carry instead of leaving at home. 6. Ruger LCR 22. Snub-nose skills without the punishment. The standout feature of the Ruger LCR 22 is its shootability for such a tiny revolver. Snub-nose carry guns are often unpleasant to practice with in centerfire calibers. The LCR in 22LR flips that script. Its polymer lower frame and aluminum upper keep weight low, while Ruger's cammed double-action system delivers a remarkably smooth trigger stroke. You still get a long pull, but it stacks very little and breaks cleanly, which is unusual in rimfire snubs. With 8 rounds on board, the LCR also offers more capacity than many pocket revolvers. On the range, it lets you rehearse draws, presentations, and close-range strings exactly as you would with a defensive snub, just without the blast and recoil that scare new shooters away. As a practice analog for a .38 LCR, a low-recoil defensive option for recoil-sensitive users, or a deep concealment backup, it fills a very specific niche extremely well. 7. Heritage Rough Rider. Maximum cowboy per dollar. The Heritage Rough Rider's defining trait is simple fun is cheap. This is the revolver people toss in the cart at the farm store because it promises Old West vibes for little more than the cost of a good dinner. Fixed sights, a classic single-action mechanism, and a 6-shot cylinder keep the design basic, but that is exactly the appeal. The trigger tends to be crisp. The manual safety adds peace of mind for new shooters, and the gun happily digests whatever bulk 22 you feed it. Optional 22 Magnum cylinders and endless grip and finish variations turn it into a kind of Lego set for adults. No one buys a Rough Rider expecting match-grade refinement. They buy it to ring steel, shoot at cans, and hand to friends or kids on a Saturday afternoon without worrying about wear or scratches on the pure smiles per dollar metric. It is hard to beat. 8. Ruger Wrangler. Budget gun with serious bones. Where the Rough Rider leans into nostalgia, the Ruger Wrangler leans into Ruger's reputation for bomb-proof mechanics. Its standout feature is how much real Ruger revolver you get for a very modest price. Under the Cerakote finish and alloy frame sits the same basic single-action layout Ruger has trusted for decades, including a transfer bar safety system that allows all 6 chambers to be safely loaded. The sights are fixed and simple, but generally regulated well enough for practical plinking distances. The Wrangler's trigger is typically clean, and the gun has a solid, one-piece feel that belies the price tag. It does not have interchangeable cylinders or target sights, yet it shrugs off hard use around ranches, camps, and training ranges if you want a revolver that you can ride hard, loan out, or leave in a truck without anxiety, and still expect to run reliably. The Wrangler fills that role confidently. 9. Taurus 992 Tracker. The Swiss Army knife of rimfire wheel guns. Flexibility is the headline with the Taurus 992 Tracker. Few revolvers offer as many options from a single package. Out of the box, You get two complete cylinder assemblies, one for 22LR and one for 22 Magnum, and a system that lets you swap them quickly without tools. Pair that with a 9-shot capacity and a substantial full-lug barrel, and you have a revolver that can shift from quiet target work to serious varmint duty in minutes. Adjustable sights make it easy to zero for different loads, while the medium-large frame and rubber grips keep the gun controllable even during long sessions. It is heavier than many 22s, but that weight also makes it exceptionally steady offhand. For landowners, campers, or shooters who want one rimfire revolver to cover plinking, hunting, and farm chores, the 992 behaves like a multi-tool, never perfect at just one thing, but good at almost everything. 10. Diamondback Sidekick. Cowboy looks, modern manners at a glance. The Diamondback Sidekick could pass for a traditional fixed-cylinder 6-gun. Look closer, and its unique character appears. The cylinder swings out on a crane, reloads with a conventional ejector, and the action runs in both single and double action. That combination, cowboy aesthetic with modern operating controls, is what makes the Sidekick stand out. Diamondback adds even more value by including two 9-shot cylinders, one for 22LR and one for 22 Magnum. You get the visual charm of an old-school plow handle grip, but in use, the gun behaves much more like a contemporary DA revolver. Accuracy is perfectly adequate for plinking and small-game distances, and the trigger settles in nicely with use. For shooters who like the idea of a Wrangler or Rough Rider but want faster reloads, double-action capability, and dual-caliber flexibility, the Sidekick lands in a very attractive middle ground. 11. NAA Mini Revolver. When size is the whole story. Plenty of guns are called small. The NAA Mini Revolver redefines the word. Its defining feature is extreme compactness, a tiny 5-shot cylinder, stubby barrel, and enough steel to make it safe. But no extra material anywhere. Slipped into a pocket holster, boot, or belt buckle rig, it virtually disappears. On paper, the miniature sights and abbreviated grip look like drawbacks, and at distance they are. This is not a 25-yard target gun. Up close, however, the little single action turns into a surprisingly manageable tool. Recoil is mild. The simple notch and post sighting system is usable at realistic ranges, and the half-notch cylinder safety lets you carry all 5 chambers loaded. Owners rarely choose the Mini as a primary defensive arm. They choose it because it can always be with them, as a last-ditch backup, novelty plinker, or mechanical conversation piece. It occupies a unique and genuinely useful slot. 12. Ruger Bearcat. A kit gun with old-world charm. The Ruger Bearcat earns its place by blending practical field utility with a level of charm most modern guns never approach. Scaled down from Ruger's larger single actions, it feels trim and lively in the hand. With a 6-shot cylinder and sleek 4-inch class barrel that keep weight low, slide it into a backpack, tackle box, or hip holster, and it simply disappears until needed. What sets the Bearcat apart is the little details, the unfluted, engraved cylinder, the graceful frame lines, and the way the single-action hammer and trigger break with a clean, predictable snap. It is accurate enough for small-game ranges and an absolute joy for casual plinking. Many owners buy one for the kids and end up shooting it more than anything else. As a true kit gun, light, handsome, and mechanically trustworthy, the Bearcat may be the most endearing revolver on this entire list. Look across these 12 revolvers, and a pattern appears. None of them tries to be everything at once. Each model leans hard into one strength, whether that is the Model 617's target-grade stability, the single 6's dual-caliber versatility, the King Cobra's premium feel, or the Model 317's almost weightless portability. Others focus on value and attitude. The Rough Rider and Wrangler exist to turn bulk 22 into smiles with minimal cost. The 992 and Sidekick chase flexibility. The LCR and SP101 emphasize training and practical skills, while the NAA Mini and Bearcat serve as constant companions. Choosing the best 22LR revolver is less about chasing a single winner and more about matching that dominant trait to your real use case. Decide whether you care most about accuracy, price, weight, or roll, and one of these 12 will stand out immediately as the right tool for you.